Hello, hello friends. We're getting ready to do some creating. Okay, we got so many fun junk journal pages here, and we're gonna make some more. So I'm gonna share with you a little bit of my process. I've written down some things here that I wanna share with you, but let me welcome everybody on in. I am Grace, here at the Comfy Nest with Grace. I'm trying to grab my chair. And I know that Brenda's still alive. She's finishing up her spot for the Crafty Bunch. This is an event, Crafter's Choice event for the Crafty Bunch. So if you want to watch all of the replays and all of the creatives, you can go into that free group. I gave you the link in the description so you can get on over in there and join us for the fun. Probably see all kinds of stuff today, and I wonder if you've been here and hanging out, what have you seen? What kind of projects have you seen? So I've been making junk journal pages. Here's a few examples. These are made out of, all of these are wallpaper samples. Look at how gorgeous they are. That I bought on Etsy. They're just so beautiful. They're also different too. The view, like the theme of them are very, very different. Like I love this one. This one's a little textured. So what I've been doing with these and with other scrapbook papers is turning them into junk journal pages. And I like to have some on hand when I'm making my junk journals. I'm going to show you this example here. And this particular bunch, I did put a bunch of pockets into them. And I did add some embellishments. So these, I'll just flip through a few to show you the kinds of things that I'm doing in here. So this one has a tuck spot with a fabric floral pocket here. 2 tuck spots on this one with foiled embossing. So they're all a little bit different, and I like to have a huge variety in my craft stash. I love to have a huge variety of pages already put together so that when I'm, oh, this one's upside down. When I'm putting a junk journal together, I have all of these pre-done pages to choose from to put into my journals. So I've been making these, kind of mass making them, and then I sold a whole lot of them in my last Whatnot sale. So if you're interested in buying some of these, of course you could always hang out with me there, but I'm just going to show you how to make them. So if you wanted to make some more of your own. So a couple of things. I'm trying to use up paper. I mean, girls, are you like me? Like, look at this. I went to my paper packs. And I was like, okay, I have had this paper pack for a long, long time. It is so dilapidated, the book itself, but there are only 2 pages left. No, excuse me, 3. And these have a special dot texture to them. I'm not sure if you can see that. I hope you can. There's only 3 pages left, I think. 4 pages. Let's use them up. Like, I'm trying to use up my books, use up my stash of paper. So we'll use these 4 up. This will not get thrown out. I'll use this for something because it's usually really thick, good cardstock. This I bought because I just fell in love with. It's like glittered paper, but I have not used a whole lot of it. So I'm going to pull some of these, the Paper Studio Glam Glitter Pastel Solids for $24.99. We're going to pull some of these and use them. That is gorgeous. To make some junk journal pages. Let's pull a couple of these. I've been slowly, love this color, purple, slowly using up my stash. Ooh, look at that vibrant purple. Yeah, let's grab that one. So we'll grab 3 from that. Grabbing junk journal, or excuse me, scrapbook paper that I have on hand and turning it into junk journal pages. So I'll show you. The first thing, choose your paper from the stash you probably already have on hand. We're going to prepare the page base. I'll talk to you about that in a minute. Step 3, so we could say these are kind of our steps that we're doing. Step 3 is to choose the paper for embellishing the inside, whether you're going to do a pocket, a tuck spot, a design, decorate it with stamps, paint, stencils, washi tape, ribbon. The supplies that you use are endless, whatever you can come up with in your own creative mind. And then 4, put it all together to create a junk journal page. Like that. So, do you know what a junk journal is? Let's get back to the basics. Jennifer, thank you for fluffing the nest, my friend. Hi, Gia. How are you, friend? Linda, hey, girl. I know I have to get back to you. I have not gotten back to you yet. It has been a very long day. Linda, I think you're about the only person who knows this. Well, I did tell Michelle when Michelle, my friend from My Shell Bells Creations, she was live earlier as part of this event, and I did divulge to her and her folks hanging out with her that I spent 8 hours in the ER last night with my son. Linda knows this because I messaged her back this morning, but many of you probably don't know that. I can explain it to you in a minute. Yep, 8 hours, midnight to 8 a.m. Well, actually, we got there at 12:30, so 7.5 hours. Lisa, I hope you had a good Thanksgiving, Lisa Kid. Thanks for asking. We did have a good one. It was very quiet, other than yesterday we had to take my son to the ER. It was very, very scary for this mama's heart. Mama Peace Crafty Creation. Thank you, Miss Cheryl. She shared me out into the group. Thank you for doing that. I so appreciate you. Hey, Jen Money and Callie and Rita. Look at all you chicks hanging out with me. And there's Brenda. Brenda, I loved your snowman. Loved it, loved it. So cute. Okay. Junk journal. Who makes junk journals? Who's interested? Art journals. This is, it doesn't have to be a junk journal. It can be an art journal. For me, sometimes those two terms kind of intertwine. This book is my gratitude journal. I have 2 pages left to fill. These 2 Post-it notes represent the only 2 blank pages in this book. I created it with very plain pages, and then this is the book. I gratitude journal every single Sunday with my private membership group, the Craft Therapy Club. I do a gratitude journal entry at noon every Sunday, pretty much. And so I write with a gold gel pen, and usually I decorate on one side and I write on the other. And so like here I used an actual leaf from my yard with some little bit of rice paper. More rice paper. Here's a tag from something I bought. I just thought that was so cute. Here's some pictures of my family vacation. So in August, I was writing in gratitude for my family reunion. And here are some photos that I've glued into it. So my gratitude journal is smash journal, junk journal, because it is created like a junk journal. It's an old book cover, Norwegian American Studies. I tore the insides out and used this as the cover. I decorate the cover last. I used a digital printable that I gave to the Craft Therapy Club last year in November when we created these books in the group. So I used that and some other pages to make the pages of the book. And I've been journal entering, like on one side, most times, journal entry on one side with gold gel pen, and then decorating the other side. So sometimes it's like paper collage. Sometimes I was really tired that day. All I did was glue down a napkin. That was it. That's all I had energy for. I do have some pages that are more art journal. Like this is more like an art journal page. And still my entry here, that was April 28th. This is more like a paper junk journal page. So I don't know that you can actually put a title on what these, like, what is this called? I don't know. It's just a journal that I do gratitude journaling in. And I don't think there has to be like a straight answer to that. If you like using stickers, use stickers. If you like using fabric, use fabric. If you love papers, use papers. Here's a picture of my mom on my birthday last year, December. So this was last December, this entry. On my birthday, I thought it was really fitting that I put a picture of my mom in there because my mom passed away when I was 17. The day after I turned 17, my mom died. So I thought it was a really good way to remember her in my book in a special way. So anyway, your book can be whatever you want. You can use whatever you want in it. It started out as junk journal. It is my gratitude journal where I do gratitude entries. And sometimes I do more art in it, and sometimes I do paper collage, but it doesn't matter what you call it. It's just, you pour yourself out into a book and it becomes a beautiful compilation of who you are. That's how I look at that process. And so we're going to make some pages that you could potentially build into your own book. And like I said, I like to have a bunch on hand. So I'm mass making right now. I'm mass making. Oh, I'm so sorry. Someone said it's a bad connection. I'm so sorry. Maybe try to go out and come back in, Carol, if you heard that. Hopefully that's helpful. Hey, Lynn, how are you? A junk journal is a book made out of junk. It is a book where you take, like, this is an old book that I got from our library's semi-annual sale, where if the things don't sell, they throw them out. So I grabbed this book, I tore it apart to use the cover for this journal, and then I used the insides for other things. Like here's the inside of a book, and we're going to use some of these today. I think this is actually the inside from that book. We're going to use that for some of what we're doing today. So a junk journal is a book that you make for whatever purpose you choose to use it for, and it's made basically out of things that you would have thrown away otherwise. So, okay, wait, Gia, I made the cutest junk journal for everyone to write in for Thanksgiving. Oh my gosh, she learned from the best. Gia, oh my gosh, please share it in the group. We would love to see that. I love it, I love it. Oh, good. Lynn, I'm glad your connection is good. Thank you for telling me that. All right, Debbie. Hello, hello, my friend. Okay, so here are some pages that I prepared. Okay, these were already done. These were just scraps of scrapbook paper that I had on hand. In fact, this one, it looks like it was a failed Cricut. Look at, see how that's, it looks like something was attempted at cutting through and it didn't work. I'm going to use it. That's junk. Like it's a piece of scrap paper, went through a Cricut at one point. I don't even know if it came from me or somebody else. Somebody might have sent it to me in Happy Mail, but we're going to turn it into a junk journal page. So what I like to do is I cut my papers so that when they're folded, they fit in like a traditional size book, like a 6x9 or so. Okay. So if this would fit inside a 6x9, it works. They're not all the same size, as you can clearly see. Doesn't matter. They're scraps of paper. As long as overall I can get this in a 6x9 book. Now this one's a little bit long, so I might end up cutting a little bit off of that. But if it fits in a 6x9, I'm good with it, because it can always be adjusted, you know, when you put it in your book. Anyway, here are some cardstock papers. These are just scrapbook paper that are cardstock and that I've had on hand. So we're going to fold these up. We're going to make something into them. We're going to make some junk journal pages. Let me get my bone folder or something to help me fold these. So the first step, pick out your papers. Just go to your stash of papers. I have wallpaper samples. I have cardstock. I have glitter cardstock. I have just scraps of scrapbook paper that I used for other projects. And they're just sitting around, like not even all the same size. And as long as I can cut them down so that they're about 6x9, I'm really happy with them. So this is, you choose the paper and then you're preparing the page base. That's what I'm doing right now. We're going to take some of these and we're going to prepare them for becoming junk journal pages. Now I'm opening them back up because I want to put pockets, tuck spots, something in here so that they're usable, whether it goes in a junk journal, a gratitude journal, an art journal. I'll be selling some of these on Thursday. Okay, these are all ready. Here's what I would do. Here's that paper that I just pulled out of those 12x12 paper stacks. What I would do now, they're 12x12, so they're too big. So I need to cut them down to a smaller size. So I'm going to grab my cutting board. I love when they're double-sided, like it's colored on both sides. The glittered paper is not. It's white on one side, it's glittered on the other, but it's amazing. So we're going to use it anyway. We're going to use it anyway. All right, so let's cut these. First cut will be to make it the height that it needs to be, which, like I said, 6x9, 6x8. I think once you start making books, you get a pretty good feel for what the size of books that you like to make. I don't make all of my book pages the same size in a book. I like them to be varied. Now these will not get wasted. We'll use these for something else, but I'm just going to put them aside. So now this is about 8x12. 12 is a little bit too long, so I'm going to take about an inch off. So when I fold this in half, this way, it's going to make about a 6x8. So it will fit in a standard books. It'll fit inside there. See? It doesn't matter to me. It doesn't matter. I don't want them all to be, look what popped off. Gotta get that back on there. I don't want them all to be the same size. I like my books to have a lot of variety to them. How do I get this back in? Can somebody remind me? I think it's down here. Don't you just plop it in there? Like, how did it come out so easy and now it won't go in? Usually it's easier on the top or bottom, but it's not. Come on, friend. What? What did I do? What am I doing wrong, girls? I can't get it in there. Okay, it's okay. We'll work with what we got. I'll figure it out later. I'm not going to watch you or make you watch me suffer through that. Patience is probably what's needed, and I clearly don't have it right now. Clearly don't. All right, let's do it. We're going to fold a few more. Where did my little tool go? All right, now the next part will be to choose what you're going to embellish it with. So I'm going to show you some really good examples of what you could use. So these are bases, remember. I have this big pile of bases here. These are page bases. Now I had an idea. Oh, this still has like the adhesive on it from the paper pack. Doesn't take but a minute to peel it off there. Try the middle, Brenda, with putting that blade back in. I will do that. Where do you find the double-sided paper? Oh, Mary, most hobby stores will sell double-sided paper. You just got to look at the paper packs before you buy it and see if they have it. Hey, Janice, you're gearing up for your cruise, girl. I'm so excited for you. Okay, so what can we use to embellish the inside? So one idea I had was, this is the inside of that book. Okay, so what I thought is I like to use these pages up, right? Well, I don't have my paper cutter available to me right now because it just got goofed up. But if I take this, I was thinking I would like to have some diagonal tuck spots. And for the smaller pages, now those pages are too big, but for this, we get a really good size tuck spot here if I put this in here. So the first thing would be to cut it down. So if I took the page from one of my books, and I'm going to use a different cutter because my paper cutter, like I said, that blade's all goofed up now. All right, doesn't have to be perfect. Don't worry about perfection. Just have fun with your projects. Don't overwhelm yourself thinking you need to be perfect. But if I take that now and I glued it here, first of all, if I fold it in half, I could make a tuck spot on this side and this side. Now I kind of like the idea of it being a diagonal. So if I took this and cut it from the center point where it's folded to this corner on both sides. So actually, if I just do this and then cut it from here to here, it's not going to be exact because live, I'm always a little bit less accurate than I would be on my own, truthfully, because I'm trying to get through it quickly to show you all the examples. So see what I have there? Folded in half and glued down. This is going to give me, let's take this little pretty piece of paper, a tuck spot here where I can put something like a tag or a journal card in there, right? So this is a really easy way to use up your book pages. Now, for me, if this were going to be in one of my junk journals, and I open it up and it's going to be 2 tuck spots, I don't love all this white space. So what I was thinking I would do is take some of the stamps that I have and just decorate a little bit. So let's just grab, I'm really fond of this one right here, these Black Eyed Susans. And I'm going to grab a stamp, and we're going to stamp some Black Eyed Susans on here on either side just to make it a little more decorative. So I'm sure you girls, you have stamps, you have stencils, you have foils, and you have embossing powders. All of these things can be used to decorate, right? So I'm just bringing it up to remind you to use all the things you got. Use it all. Before I glue down or sew that pocket into place, that little tuck spot, I could come in. I don't even care if it's like perfect. I'm just trying to add something decorative to the page. You know what? I think it's easier a lot of times to do it this way when it's a bigger stamp like this. And I am going to put it on both sides. It's highly unlikely that these two pages are going to be right next to each other in a book. So I'm going to do that. And then when I glue this down, we're going to have something more decorative on that page, which I love. I think it's just visually interesting to have that way. So you can run this through your, I really just need to glue this surface here or sew it. You can also sew it. You don't have to glue it. You could sew it. But I think I'm going to take a little bit of glue and glue this down. You can do both as well, glue and sew. Just make sure that the glue that you use is okay if you run it through your machine with your needle, if you're running it through a sewing machine. So I wanted to give you an example of this is kind of what we're going for here, is creating a variety of different kinds of junk journal pages that are ready to go. So this not being connected here, I probably will run this through my sewing machine. So I have a pile of pages that are ready to go through the sewing machine. So I would run a stitch down here and then it would stay together so that I would have a tuck spot here and a tuck spot here. Okay. So now that I've explained basically what I'm doing with all of these scraps of paper and fabric and all that jazz, I'm just going to get to work and we're going to chat while I work on these pages. Let me check the comments quick and see who's here and what you guys are all saying. You haven't seen this before? Becca, it's a great way to use up your book pages. If you're taking books apart, which I do constantly for making other books to, you know, you're creative. You just have that creative energy that you want to make it into something new and pretty. If you're taking books apart, I have stacks. Becca, look at, I have stacks of book pages. And you'll see the difference in sizes and color and fonts. Some of these are novels. These are dictionary pages. Look at the patina is different on the dictionary page than on, like, see how much more yellow some of these pages are? It just adds a really great variety to your collection of pages that you're going to put into your books. So I do have a little stack of books that I tear apart on the regular. I know it sounds terrible, especially if you are a book lover. I know that can be hard to swallow. I got over it a long time ago. I do not tear apart antique books very often because I don't know, it just makes me hyperventilate a little bit. But if it's a book like that you can get very regularly and it's not super unique, I don't mind doing it at all. This one I think I'm pretty good with, other than when I run it through the sewing machine, I very likely may take something, this is just a scrap of lace, that is, I have this like little bits and bobs basket with little things that I don't know what I'm going to do with this. Well, this is what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to end up putting it maybe on the inside or, oh, that's even prettier, on the outside, sewing that there so that, you know, it just adds more embellishment to the page. Now, I'm just going to give it a quick glue stick since I like this here. And then when I go to my machine, I can add the stitching to it to just add a little more decorative flair. So we're gonna glue it down with a glue stick right now. And then it'll go in my pile to go to the sewing machine. I do sometimes sew online live here when I'm hanging out with you guys, but it's very loud. It's difficult to see. So this will just go in my sewing pile. It's not stuck on there perfectly, but that's okay. It's just tacked on there enough so that when I go to sew it, I know what I intend to do with that. Hold on now, where's my sewing pile? All right, we'll just put it aside for now. Okay, so we're just going to do a great number of things. They may all be a little different. Some of them will be the same. And we're just going to start embellishing these. Now, here's another idea I have. These are the kinds of things you can get at thrift stores. When I found these at the thrift store, I was just thrilled with them. They are little flashcards. One side has the answer, one does not. But how fun are these? These are smaller pages, but for your bigger pages, for making your tuck spots. And we can even embellish them a little bit if you wanted to. So before I do, I'm going to glue a couple of these on here to make tuck spots, but let's do something with the center before we do that. So I'm going to grab a different stamp just to use, again, just to have some variety in what I'm doing here. Let's see. These are amazing. Like, what is this one? Is it long enough? It'll go across the whole thing. This pretty one. And if I stamped it down and made kind of a few of them and then glued that on, I really only need to stamp. I don't need to wet the whole stamp. I only need to wet the center part of it. Of course, you can use whatever color you have. You're not stuck to whatever colors I used. Hello, dear friend Deborah Bolts. How are you? I see you there, friend. Carnival from 12/15 to the 21st, out of Miami to Ochos Rios, Grand Cayman, and Cozumel. We will have a group of 30 going. Lori, I'm jealous. Oh my goodness. Oh, I love that you guys are talking cruise in the comments. Hey, Sandra Mata, how are you? How are you? How are you? And since I met Grace, Lynn says, I have a couple of years ago, I have amassed quite a bit of Bits and Bobs collection that you're very proud of. Bits and Bobs, they are the joy of the creative woman. I mean, maybe man too. I don't know. I don't know many creative men. I tend to hang out with the creative chicks. That's why I call our girls crafty chicks. But right? The Bits and Bobs, they can be our pride and joy, our little basket of like thing. They're like the basket of misfit toys that have nowhere to go. They don't know what they're doing in life, but we give them a purpose. That's the Bits and Bobs basket. See how very imperfect this is? It's okay. It's okay. It's all good. It's all good. We're going for visual interest here. We're not going for perfection. We're just going for, like, when you open the page, you're going to be like, what happened here? What's going on right here? Take the stress out and just have fun with it. It really, once you put it down, it doesn't really give you much to go on the second round. So I better swab it with a little bit more ink. Let's do one more right here. Oh my gosh, so pretty. I really like that one, so I might do this on another set of pages. Okay, now this part, we've got to glue down. So I'm going to glue it so that it can be a tuck spot. So I'm going to glue it on 3 edges, 1, 2, 3, and then we're going to put it down so that we have one open edge for tucking things into. Oh, I don't have a very straight line. I'm never very steady. I couldn't be a surgeon ever. I don't have a steady hand. Coffee or no coffee, it doesn't matter what time of day. I just don't have a steady hand. Okay, here's one. So this will become a little tuck spot right there. And then we're going to do it on the other side because I think these are super cool. So I'm going to leave one answered, one unanswered. You figure it out on your own. What is 4 plus 0? My husband is watching Yellowstone. I cannot believe I signed up for this live so long ago. You know, Cheryl is so organized and she really gets the ladies who are presenters for the Crafty Bunch. She gets us organized so well and so well in advance. I signed up for this long before I realized it was a Yellowstone night. Anybody else Yellowstone fans? We love Yellowstone. Watching that show. Okay, so this was a piece of decoupage paper actually, but I wasn't using it for anything else. So I thought, why just have it sit here and not get used? It deserves a job. Like the Island of Misfit Toys. So here we're gonna have 2 tuck spots here. I'm gonna put this in my sewing pile because I will likely, I'm not even gonna designate something to sew on here yet, but I likely will put a bit of fabric on the outside of it like we did the last one. So I'm just going to put it aside in my sewing pile. On to the next one. So we have a couple of these available. So let's do another round of this. I'm hoping that today with our time together, I can show you a few different options that you have. Let's maybe try a different color. What do we got going on here? Pinks. This makes me really happy, this whole process, because it allows me to pull out just all the supplies. You know, you've got stamps. You've got ink pads. You have stencils that you can pull out. Stenciling on these is fabulous too. It's really fun to stencil on these. You've got all the things. And making junk journal pages, you could do this, the same thing with making greeting cards. They don't have to be junk journal pages. But what a great way to use up your stash. Wow, this one is fabulous in green. Maybe I'll just do the top and the bottom and leave it at that. Got a little runaway hair. We don't need that on there. Okay, top and bottom. I just love that. I love the color so much. We're gonna glue these down. Look at how pretty that is. And interesting. It's just interesting. It doesn't have to be stamps. If you don't have a lot of stamps, use your stencils. Use magazine images. Before you throw out the hey, it's catalog season. It's Christmas, so you're getting a ton of catalogs. We get like the Vermont Country Store, L.L. Bean, Scheels catalog. We are a very outdoorsy kind of family, hunting, fishing. So those are the kinds of catalogs that we get. Whatever your catalogs that you're getting, usually there are images in there that you can love up on and use in your junk journal. So tear them apart, use the images, use the words in your journal pages. It's a great way to embellish your pages. Is anybody out there who's hanging out with us tonight? Can you tell me in the comments, have you made a junk journal before? Are you absolutely new, never heard of this before? Have you heard of it, but you haven't made one yet? Where are you with this junk journal journey? Now, my friend Michelle, who I talked about earlier, I told her we were in the ER last night for 8 hours, my husband and I. It was a really scary night, to be truthful with you. My 19-year-old son called me at 12:30 in the morning. I was sound asleep. We both were, actually, my husband and I. He fell asleep in front of the couch. I was asleep in bed. And my 19-year-old son called me and said, "Mom, wake up Dad. I can't get out of the hot tub." And I was like frozen. I said, "What?" And he said, "I can't move, Mom. I can't. I'm in so much pain. I can't move." His stomach, he had so much abdominal pain that he needed our help getting out of the hot tub. Now, my son works out twice a day, super fitness oriented. So very, very frightening prospect for a mama, but we got him through. Severe abdominal pain. He's going to have a follow-up appointment this week to check. He had some damage to his organs from severe dehydration and excessive working out, to be truthful, excessive exercise. So sent him back to college today. My heart's in my throat sending him back to college, but he's got to get an appointment. We're going to have him checked up with the enzymes in his organs to make sure that he's going to be okay. So he's not totally out of the water, but he's obviously he's good enough. We sent him to school. We're not, it's not, he's going to be okay. Thanks be to Jesus. Thanks be to Jesus on that. Sina loves to make junk journals. You're with me, girl. You're with me. You and me. Jamie, hello. She said, "I just got here." Well, welcome. We're so glad you're here. Thank you, Jennifer. Yes, please say some prayers for him because, Jennifer knows her. I made many junk journals and she loves making them. Yay. That's so fun. Yeah, you know what? He's a 19-year-old young man. He's at college, so we're still helping him out with so many things. Okay, I have more postcards in my shop, in my office. I sell, or not postcards, these little what are they called? Flashcards. I have them. I sell them in my shop, but I don't have any here in my craft room. So now I'm going to go to my stash, like These are the leftover pieces of paper from what I cut out to make these pages. So I could very easily take one of these. Let's see what color would work. I kind of like the blue. So let's cut this blue piece down to make another tuck spot for this side. So I just like to use what I have on hand. I don't overthink this too much. I'm going to cut it here. It doesn't even have to be perfectly straight. I'm good with that. And then I'm going to cut it again. I'm going to cut it about that wide. And I actually have a stripe there that'll help me. So my son, being 19, when he learned that he was severely dehydrated, he said, "I feel really stupid, Mom." And I said, "Well, kid, I mean, you obviously weren't paying enough attention to your body and what it was telling you." And he said, "Yeah, now that I think of it, this week when I was working out, my muscles were really cramping up, and that's very unusual for me." So he had a few signs that he just was not paying enough attention to. And I said, don't feel dumb. It is what it is. This is how you learn and grow. I said, but from now on, you got to really start paying attention to your water consumption and output so that you know that you're really hydrated enough for these intense workouts that you're doing. Look at cute little tuck spot, right? So we got a flashcard on one side, florals on the outside, and we got the stripes on this side. It's junk journaling at its best, as far as I'm concerned. Goes in the sewing pile for the sewing machine later. All right, so use whatever you have on hand. The other thing that I have on hand, which I think is so funny, these are the bingo. We play bingo once a month for prizes inside the Craft Therapy Club, and these are the pages from bingo. I thought this would be really cool to use. So Kim won that bingo. I'm going to actually, because I'm not sure Kim wants her name so highlighted. I think I'm going to cut that off. Use what you got, girls. This is the essence of junk journaling. Let's cut this down a little bit. So anyway, my Landman scared his mama. Really scared me pretty badly last night. It's an intense thing when your kid is sick and you don't know what's wrong with them. And especially being woken up at 12 in the morning, like 12 a.m. Mom, I can't get out of the hot tub. He's 19 and super fit. This child is super fit. But he needed us last night. Okay, girls, we're getting close to time. I don't know about this. I kind of like it. I was thinking, I saved all these bingo pages because I thought I'm going to use these in my junk journals. I'm not sure I like it. Not sure that I like it right here. Maybe on a card. These are very thin, just regular printer paper. So maybe I'd feel better with these on cardstock. So here are my cardstock sheets, the ones with the dots. Yeah, this feels better to me. So we're going to, whoops. I'm going to quickly glue this down and give us a couple of tuck spots here with some bingo pages. How fun is that? Did any of you girls spot your name on here? So fun. I'm sure some of you mamas out there have been in that position where you're taking your kid to the ER in the middle of the night. Tesha, thank you for saying that. Thank you for being gracious. She said, prayers for everybody who needs prayers. Yes, that's how we can help each other the most, really. And it doesn't cost a dang thing, but 10 minutes of your time, heck, a minute of your time, 5 minutes of your time to pray for somebody in need. It's a very powerful thing indeed. So thank you for recognizing that, Tesha. Okay, I got a little bit of glue overage. I was a little aggressive on the glue, so gotta wipe that glue off. These are funny. These are funny to me. I think I will embellish them further because they feel really wild to me. They feel a little bit wild. So let's see. I have little bits of paper. I always have little bits of paper hanging out. I got some tags. Let's see. I'm looking at what I have just sitting here in my bits and bobs. Hold on, girls. Don't you worry. I got paper. I'm never for a loss of paper. Let's see if there's anything in this bits and bobs folder. I have some doilies. This was a card that someone sent me. Some fabric, more doilies. Oh, this is a pretty little piece of fabric. See how that will break that up a little bit if I glue that down right there? So I would just keep embellishing this. Like I actually think I would put it up here and keep embellishing this until I'm satisfied with it. And I very well may throw in a stitch or two as well with my machine. I love the combination of fabrics and papers together. Thank you, Wendy. These are my dashes. These are my dashes. You guys know I'm having a dash party right now. These are those glue-on nails. They're so fabulous. They stay on so well. I love them. My friend Darlene signed up to sell, and she asked me, would you host a party? And I said, well, of course I would. So I'm having a lot of fun hanging out with you girls who joined that little group. Okay, here's a little bit of lace that I have. Let's make this a little more feminine. We can add that lace on top of that canvas. And right now, my glue stick is good for tacking that down, and then running a stitch through it will help a lot. Okay, so I know that there's one more person, at least one more person coming up after me in this event. This is part of the Crafty Bunch event today. If you go on Facebook into the free group called the Crafty Bunch, I'm looking through some of my papers that I have over here. If you go to the free group called the Crafty Bunch and join it, Miss Cheryl will get you in there. She's the administrator for that group. And then you can follow along for all of the events. They are like, I'm not even sure, like several times a week, there are all-day events with creative inspiration and ideas for you to take, so that when you get into your craft space or you set time aside for your own craft therapy time, you have some ideas to go off of that you can save and then do them on your own later. So we hope that you'll join the Crafty Bunch with us. All right, I gotta check the comments. Oh, you guys are still talking cruises. I love it. I love it. Okay, so I just will keep adding. It's just like in my gratitude journal, where I love to collage papers. These are like 1, 2. This is a piece of fabric actually. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 pieces of fabric, trim, or paper collaged together to make an interesting assortment of papers. I love, love, love to do that. Here's fabrics. 1, 2, 3 fabrics. A little, like, it's like a little button, like a pin that has like a decorative stone on it. And I added this tiny little tag that I had on hand. So all of the little bits and bobs that you have in your stash, you can put them together to make really creative, tactile, like the texture with the paper and the lace and the fabric. It really just adds so much dimension and interest to your pages. So I hope you have fun doing that as you're creating. Let me cover up a couple of things. If you guys have questions, go ahead and shoot them in the comments for me. I gotta find the cover to this so I don't dry out my glue. And in a couple of minutes, what's gonna happen is the next creative will be live inside the Crafty Bunch, so that you can kind of follow along and get some more crafter's choice. That means the person who's creating and sharing, they get to choose what they share with you today. Crafter's choice ideas for your creative journey. Right, I have another little basket with some bits and bobs. Like, I love that, the green. This is like a mesh ribbon. I don't even know how I can truly get that on there. It probably will require a little bit of a stitch, but for now, a glue stick does a really good job just tacking it down there for layering. So we do have this tuck spot here, and on this side, out of a bingo page, and then we're going to keep adding layers of florals and ribbons, tags, stamped images, anything that you have that you might want to put on there. Oh, I love that you guys are talking your cruises. Fort Lauderdale, December 28th to the 4th. Yes, you guys have fun. Turks and Caicos. I've always wanted to go there. Lori, I hope you have an absolute ball. Hey, listen, everybody, thank you for being here. It's about time for us to head on over into the Crafty Bunch to join in with the next creative. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to head on over and say hello to that person once she gets started, or he. so that we can support him or her. Thank you for joining me as we're making junk journal pages for whatever kind of journal you're making. It can be an art journal. It can be a junk journal. It can be a daily journal that you write in. It can be an art, like a journal where you just practice techniques, stamps and collaging and decoupaging. However you decide to make it, it does not matter what you call it. I just encourage you to make something pretty that brings your heart joy. You guys have a beautiful, blessed day. Thanks for being here with me. Happy Thanksgiving.